As bioindicators of ecosystem health, studying birds and their compositions in urban environments can be useful in determining wild conservation strategies that allow humans and animals to coexist. Birds are not only beautiful creatures with their own innate value, but they also provide a variety of ecosystem services that sustain human livelihoods. These ecosystem services come in regulatory, provisioning, supporting, and cultural forms. Birds provide regulatory services as they help mitigate disease by feeding on rodents, insects, and garbage. They provide provisioning and supporting services because they help regenerate vegetation through seed dispersal and nutrient recycling through their excretory products. The presence of birds in neighborhoods is also linked to mental well being and reduced stress levels. Moreover, birds are the center of various recreational activities, such as bird watching and gardening, that help foster environmental awareness. Their importance may not be overlooked since a decline in bird diversity may translate to a decline in environmental stability. Since birds are one of the most abundant taxonomic groups, they are frequently observed in urban areas and therefore play a key role in connecting people with wildlife. However, avian species richness, which is the amount of different bird species in an area, and avian species abundance, which is the number of total individuals in an area, can be negatively impacted in neighborhoods due to habitat fragmentation caused by increasing impervious surface cover. Impervious surface cover includes things such as roads, concrete, walls, and buildings that hinder animal movement and decrease habitat quality. The variation in bird diversity is affected by their adaptive abilities to urbanization. Generalist species often dominate urban environments, which results in the gradual replacement of native specialists as urbanization levels increase. Generalist species such as rock pigeons have certain traits that enable them to exploit urban areas, such as having greater body mass, an omnivorous diet, large clutch sizes, high sociality, greater dispersal ability, and greater longevity. Specialist birds are habitat specialists and are limited to certain environments that provide specific resources. They usually have insectivorous, granivorous diets, are tree foragers, ground nesting, have smaller clutch sizes, and lower dispersal abilities. Alternatively, the proximity to green space in neighborhoods such as natural areas, cemeteries, parks, and golf courses may improve birds' persistence and urban tolerance by increasing habitat heterogeneity, which is variation in habitat structure that promotes more niche space to utilize. Green space proximity also improves connectivity between different habitats. The proximity to green space is a proxy of habitat accessibility and availability. It increases the chances to find water, shelter, and mates, and also reduces the risks of predation and competition with other birds. To investigate how the interaction between impervious surface cover and green space proximity affects birds, I looked at a gradient of 7 neighborhoods with different levels of these factors. To determine distance to green space, data was used from the Phoenix Area Social Survey, otherwise known as PASS. I inputted the coordinates on Google Maps and used the center of each neighborhood to draw 4 quadrants. I measured the distance to nearest green space from each of these quadrants. The 4 values were then averaged to find the overall distance to green space for each neighborhood. Other peers collected data for impervious surface cover using the iTree platform, and then bird species richness and abundance was gathered using CAP-LTR data, which is the Central Arizona Phoenix Long-Term Ecological Research, which was also gathered by another peer. The results in the scatter plots show the bird species and abundance had a slight negative relationship with distance to green spaces, but a positive relationship with impervious surface cover. The green space relationship may indicate the importance of green space connectivity for native specialists. Likewise, the impervious surface cover relationship may reflect environmental filtering in urban settings that result in the dominance of generalist species. All 7 neighborhoods consisted of high percentages of generalist species, namely house finches, Eurasian colored doves, house sparrows, and rock pigeons. However, there were great urban adapters with specialist qualities that were present in all neighborhoods. This included Anna's hummingbird, curve-billed thrasher, and the Gila mockingbird. Anna's hummingbirds specialize on nectar from desert flowers, but they adapted to urban environments through supplemental feeding in the form of bird feeders and ornamental plants. Both Gila woodpeckers and curve-billed thrashers are specialized in excavating nest cavities in cactuses, but have learned to use high artificial structures and crevices in urban environments to create nests. They also both have an omnivorous diet. Throughout this analysis, three neighborhoods stood out. Neighborhood U18 had the lowest species richness but highest species abundance. Their abundance consisted of mostly Eurasian colored doves. Neighborhood U21 had the lowest species abundance but had the most even number of specialists and generalists. This site was located near a desert with low housing density. Neighborhood AB19 had the greatest species richness, the shortest distance to green space, with one of the highest percentages of impervious surface cover. The low distance to parks but high impervious cover may translate to high habitat heterogeneity and niche partitioning, which means that birds are using the environment differently. The relationship between impervious surface cover and distance to green space reveals aspects of neighborhood conditions. The positive relationship suggests that neighborhoods with greater distances to green space have more impervious surface cover. Studies show that neighborhoods with high levels of impervious surface cover are related to low income and are thus exposed to less bird diversity. Affluent neighborhoods are often surrounded by more green space and are exposed to more diversity. In order to provide more foraging and shelter opportunities in areas with high impervious surface cover, it is imperative to enhance the quality of existing green spaces within yards and school grounds, and is also useful by planting native and bird-friendly plants and also reducing pesticide use. To increase bird diversity in neighborhoods as a whole, it is imperative to engage citizens in conservation and stewardship by implementing greening projects, tree plantings, and yard certifications. For example, the National Wildlife Federation has a program that certifies yards as official wildlife habitat. They provide walkthrough checklists to confirm all elements necessary are present to be certified. These elements include food, water, cover, places to raise young, and sustainable practices. Urban planning should also move towards green infrastructure to improve permeability and develop a mosaic of green spaces of different sizes, ages, and habitat quality. Urban planning should also be educated and informed of species specific needs and what drives bird distributions and patterns of bird richness. Increasing the amount of green spaces may mitigate the impacts of impervious surfaces, which can result in higher bird diversity, ecosystem functioning, human well being, and a healthy coexistence with the organisms we share this world with. Bird compositions in urban environments may not be as diverse compared to natural environments, but this is not a testament to their lack of value, because they still serve their natural roles. Humans are often responsible for influencing biodiversity distributions, but we also have the potential and privilege to revive nature and be good stewards of it, even the nature that lies within our backyards.